Need about 1 minute before we go full live here. All right, can you hear me? There's like one person here. Can you hear me? If you can, send something in the chat. I want to talk about oil prices today. If you can hear me, put something in the chat there so I know that you can hear me. Not real experienced in doing things live, but yes. All right, Adam. Awesome. All right. Hey, we talk about negative numbers in math class, and I wanted to kind of talk about here yesterday. You guys have heard, you probably maybe you've seen gas prices are pretty cheap right now. Okay. Well, gas is made from oil. It's a process. It's a multiple step process that gasoline is made from oil. And well, yesterday the barrel of oil. So a barrel of oil is like a 55-gallon drum. So they're pretty big gallon of drums. Um, big drums and stuff like that. They the 52-week high on the stock market exchange was $66 per barrel, and yesterday it went down to negative $37. So what really is going on there is, yeah, they're paying people to take oil. Now, they're not paying just you and me. We can't just walk on the street and be like, hey, yeah, we'll take the oil. But these big, huge companies like BP and stuff like that, they get oil, they produce oil, they pump oil. Now, there's a couple different factors here. I'm trying to explain this in as simple terms as possible. It is a supply and demand issue. You're like, well, how do they become negative $37? How is that even possible? How can something be negative worth? Well, oil is still worth money. Okay, let's not say oil is not worth anything, or they're not going to be going to the gas station and they're going to give you money to pump your car with oil. No, that's not going to happen. They're still going to charge you money at the gas station. Now it's still going to be cheap. Okay, but there's a couple different factors. Obviously, and I heard on a podcast by Mad Money, Jim Cramer, this guy named Rusty Brazil. He's an expert in this field, and he says obviously 85% of it. The reason why is because of COVID-19. 15% of it is from Russia and from the Middle East. The oil producers there, they are pumping out and making lots of oil. Well, same here. In the past years, America has been pumping out more oil and becoming more energy efficient. So what you have here, and I'm gonna probably put this in very simple terms, you have oil, okay, it's being pumped out of the ground, okay, and this is, we have Russia, you have Middle East, and you have the U.S. We're pumping out oil, and it's just crude oil, and we use that oil to make a product, which is tons of products. Your Nike shoes, for example, are made out of oil. Okay, that rubber on the bottom of your soles is made out of oil. Anything that is a plastic is made from oil. Heck, even your jeans and stuff can be. What's up, guys? Just clothes, but most of it does go to gasoline. Now, a lot of products, once again, are made from oil, even plastic bags. So what happens is they're pumping out oil, and then what they're doing is that they send this stuff and it gets refined. So you have the refineries, but that goes out to consumers. So at a gas station. So we're buying gas, right? And so they're pumping out all this oil, tons and tons of oil. Now, in between here, it goes to refineries, basically storage places. So in between this process is storage. So here is my cylinder of oil. Now, usually this is our storage. Usually the storage just has some crude oil in it. Okay. So this goes out to gas companies. This goes out to retailers. Okay. Where we as consumers are buying this product. We're buying gasoline. Right. We're buying clothes. We're buying all kinds of different products, storage bins, all made out of oil. And so they're pumping this out, and they really haven't stopped. Even the U.S. producers haven't really stopped. They're trying to stop their wells right now. And so what happened is this is represents the world storage of oil. Okay. Gas is still going to cost us stuff. Products are still going to cost us stuff. They're not going to give that stuff away for free just because oil is negative. Okay. On the stock market. The problem is what happens is that they're trying to slow down their wells, and it's not an easy process. You just can't, it's not like your water faucet in your house. You turn your water faucet on, it comes out, you get enough of it, you turn it off. Well, these are complex machines, first of all. You're taking oil out of the ground, and you just can't take it and turn it off. Well, what happened is, well, I haven't filled up my gas tank since the day we left for school. That's over 5 weeks. I haven't even put in gas in my car. Okay. So my car, I haven't used the tank of gas in over 5 weeks. And there's lots of people who aren't using gas. There's also a lot of people who are saving money because maybe they unfortunately lost their jobs. They aren't buying products. They're not going out places. I haven't bought things that I just don't need. I'm not buying those things. So there's a lot of people who are just not buying things. And it's not just the United States. The world can deal with that with maybe one country or so not buying as much stuff anymore. Well, now there's a lot of countries that aren't buying anything. That's all over the world. They're not driving cars. They're not going anywhere. They're staying home. So what happens is that these people are not buying it. And so what happens to the storage? It gets full. Okay. The problem is that this is still pumping oil out. They're still pumping oil, and they've got to shut them down. And it's going to take a little process to shut these down. What happens is that their storage is overflowing. Now they can't just pump this and pump it into the dirt. That violates all kinds of laws, and they just can't pump it into the ocean. You just can't pump oil out of the ground and say, "Hey, put it here." Okay, all right. You just can't just pump it. And so what happened was that a lot these oil producers just kept on pumping oil, which is a big mistake. And they're like, "Hey, we need sellers. We need people to buy this." Well, no one down here, we're not buying it. So now it's stocked up their storage. They don't have a place to go. And so, and this is, just people who are, gas stations and stuff like that buying the supply and then having refined and so forth like that. And then they're selling to us. But once again, it has to go somewhere. And so since they can't find any buyers, they're like, "Hey, we'll pay you to take the oil. We'll pay you to take the oil. It's costly for us to keep it. We're laying off staff. Obviously, they're laying off people, but we'll pay you to take the oil." And never in my lifetime I ever thought we'd have negative oil. I remember back in 2007, 2008, it was like in the hundreds of dollars for a barrel of oil, which is really high. And I paid $4 or $5 in college just for gasoline. Now I can go fill up my car, no problem. But the thing is, I have nowhere to go. My car has a full tank, and I haven't really touched it since school left out. And I'm not driving anywhere where normally I would fill up my gas tank at least once a week. So that's the reason why you hear about these negative oil prices. It's not necessarily that it's a bad thing. Okay. Well, it is a bad thing, but not necessarily that it's not worth anything. Okay. It's just a product of mostly of COVID-19. And like I said, the expert I heard called Rusty Brazil was his name. He says it's not really Russia and the Middle East. Now, Russia and Middle East have been pumping oil, a lot more oil, because they want the U.S. companies to go out of business. They want to go bankrupt. They kind of want that because it's competition for them. Okay. In the world market, they want them to go bankrupt so they're not out of business. But they're only about 15% of the problem. Most of it is COVID-19. So 85% of this problem is that. And, yeah, it's a different thing when the whole world's affected by this one thing that we can't see. We can see it obviously with microscopes and stuff like that, but with the naked eye, we can't see it. It's crazy. So that's what's happening. And you may have heard that. And once again, it doesn't mean that gas is going to be free for everybody. We just can't go down to the gas station and get free gas. That's not going to happen. It's still useful. It still has its purposes. It still has value to it. However, since they have nowhere to store it and it's overflowing, they are saying, "Hey, we got to store it somewhere." Okay. And also, it's not easy just to store it. For example, like U.S. reserve, we have reserves all throughout the United States. Well, it takes a process of a month or so to really move oil from one place to the other. And so it's not necessarily an easy thing to do either. So that's why they're willing to pay people to take this oil off of them because it's expensive to store oil, believe it or not. So it's actually better for them to give people some money to take it than for them to store it themselves. Um, any questions that you guys have about this that may seem confusing? I try to break it down as much as possible. They're pumping the oil out. They have storage. Usually it's down here where they have some storage in there. And it goes, gas station, retailers, and stuff like that. We're all buying that stuff. Well, now worldwide, we're not buying as much. We're definitely not buying as much gas. And so all the storage is getting filled up. And they're like, oh, this is lasting a lot longer than we thought. We're running out of storage space. We have nowhere to put it. So, any questions you guys have about that? No, this is not a lesson. This is just something that I wanted to talk about. Something that it was negative rates on the oil, and I didn't know. Maybe you heard it, on the news, or maybe you heard your parents talking about how gas prices are. So I just wanted to kind of give you an idea of why that is, just for fun. Consider this a life lesson with Mr. Cunningham about a little bit about economics. So no, Cam, you do not have this is not a lesson. This is not something that you'll be asked questions on. Any other questions you guys have? I know my drawings are perfect and great. It was definitely very interesting. It's definitely very interesting to kind of see, um, the world economy and things that move and how it affects us. So it's amazing how everything throughout the world can affect us, even though we are very far from the world, in the middle of Williamsburg or Batavia. So that's pretty neat. And anything, I usually do finance, guys, but I don't know if I'm going to do personal finance this year or not, just because some of you guys are probably living that right now. And, um, so it kind of definitely hits more home than ever. But, any other topics you guys want to, have me talk about, maybe some life lessons with Mr. Cunningham about how something works or not, let me know. All right. There's no other questions. I'll be signing off. All right, guys. I'll talk to you later. Take care. Play some video games. We got first in Warzone the other night on a quad team. My brothers and my college friend. We got first place in quads. We all didn't die. All four didn't die throughout the whole time. We actually have a lot of kills. So it was good. All right, guys. You take care. Stay safe. Talk to you later. Bye.